Hola! I recognize you. You've been on my hikes before. Welcome back. Of course, I'm Kevin, and this is a trail that I am kind of unfamiliar with. I've never been on it before, and I've been told there's a lot of poison oak and snakes. So that's something to think about. This might be less of a hike and more of a death march now that I think about it. But the nice thing about this trail is there's a canopy of trees, so it kind of keeps it cool back here, but also darker and scarier, more threatening. Whew. This may not end up well, but don't you worry about that. You put your pants on, your snake repellent, and let's go take a hike. I love the cartoons in the New Yorker magazine, don't you? They're so funny. Well, my hiking buddy today does those. That's right. He also parodies Batman in this really funny web series where he plays a character named Badman. Oh, and guess what? You made it weird. That's the name of his podcast. Clever, right? So clever. And furthermore, he created and stars in the HBO series Crashing. This guy's so busy. He's a really funny and brilliant and intelligent stand-up comic. Today we're joining Mr. Pete Holmes. Why is it, Pete, that when I first started seeing you around, I thought you used to be a priest or something?
Yeah, that's my face.
Well, were you?
No, I
training in the seminary or something?
I went to college. I briefly considered a youth pastor or a youth ministry major, just because that's what I look like I should be doing. And it still sort of does look like that's what I should be doing.
Who do people say you look like?
Val Kilmer. Well,
like a poor man's Val Kilmer?
White people say Val Kilmer, black people say John Ritter. I don't know why it divides with race.
So, going back to the priest topic.
It's a pastor. A priest is Catholic. I grew up Protestant. We were non-denominational, evangelical-ish people.
Wow, that's a long title. No, it is. Are we going the right way? But you know a lot about religion.
I do, yeah.
And you're curious about it.
I'm bi-curious, but I'm Bible-curious.
Do you think intelligent people believe everything in the Bible?
That's a good question.
That it happened?
I think looking at religion literally is missing the point completely. So I think that the Bible is a very interesting thing. It's mythology overlain on history.
You know, I think we're going the wrong way.
You know, that's the wrong way. It all just looks like mud.
This looks like a graveyard up here.
That does look like gray stuff. That's to like break down the water so it goes down when it rains so it doesn't overwhelm.
You know everything, don't you? You know everything. You know about religion.
Religion, organized religion obviously, has sort of ruined this thing that's supposed to be a resource for all of us to engage with the mystery, not figure it out necessarily, not have certainty necessarily, but to participate with the unknowing. But it got turned into
facts.
You believe what we believe? Yes. Faith is supposed to be an openness to mystery. It's not supposed to be about believing unbelievable things, which is what I hear you rebelling against.
And what do you think it is?
I think this is a big dance, and you are a part of it, and I'm a part of it, but behind the scenes there's only really one thing sort of undulating like a fountain.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on here.
Here's where I'm at recently with God. I know there's a God because this doesn't happen without a God. But I don't even know if it's a God. I think it's something that we are all incapable of understanding because of our simpleton minds.
Well, that's in my book.
Everything's in your book.
I say,
You're that book guy. When somebody says something, that's what I said in my book.
but I think you'll like it. I say in the book something we talked about on my podcast, which is, now I'm plugging two things.
I know. I said it in my book. I said it in my podcast. What did you say?
We're dogs trying to understand the internet. And that's a
right.
beautiful way to make peace with the uncertainty of being aware and being alive. But
people just want to have an answer, don't they?
That's what I mean. Church has been turned into certainty worship instead of a dance, instead of a participation with mystery.
That's what I said in my book.
Your ego wants to know. And as Ram Dass says, we want to know when we want to know that we know. And that is ridiculous. You are floating in infinity. See, I don't take it to a deity. We can argue the existence of God. I think that's a pretty boring thing to do. What I like to start with is this. We can agree that this is happening. Let's talk about this. Let's not talk about the consciousness of a extra personal deity somewhere else. Let's talk about this that's happening right here. Because we can all agree on this. It's about a way that you see the world. That's why I like talking about it. is I'm not trying to make people talk like me or think like me or believe like me. I'm trying to invite them into a different way of looking at the world, which lowers your stress, lowers your anxiety, increases your joy, increases your presence. And everybody, regardless of their beliefs, I feel like can get into that.
You need to be a priest. I don't care
I'm
what you
just saying
believe. Did you ever consider joining a cult? I'm serious. Did that ever come into play with you?
I do love cults. I'm very interested in cults. I love cult documentaries.
Were you ever like a real heavy person? Do I remember that somehow? Were you like a heavy priest?
That is such a funny thing to ask somebody. Were you like a really heavy person?
Lose a lot of weight or something?
No, there's a Conan set which you could cut to, which is pretty funny.
What's up here?
Which is the biggest I ever got, which was like 285.
285. Was that when you were going through your divorce?
No, it's not. I had breakups that sent me spiraling after my divorce that were worse than my divorce.
Oh man.
I was just in one of those cocktail relationships. You ever have a cocktail relationship?
Not really.
I did.
Is that an alcoholic thing?
No, it's like it's actually pretty fun while you're in it. You know, you have the kind of girlfriend that you come home and it's like Mad Men. She hands you a cocktail and you're like, hey, all right. And the relationship makes sense as long as you've had two cocktails. And as soon as you sober up, your friends are like, I remember John Mulaney was like, Pete, she's not your person. And I was like, yeah, but if you have a few whiskey sours, suddenly you're like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah. See any more snakes?
No, it's a poison ivy.
There's a lot of poison oak around here.
There's two of them? Wow, really?
Are you a car guy, Pete?
A car guy? Or
Yeah.
I thought you said a carb guy. Yeah, I'm a carb guy. I love old carbs. I collect them.
But wait a minute, aren't you a vegan?
Yeah, carbs are not meat products. You should know that.
Yeah, but aren't they made with dairy, like bread?
Some bread
Flour?
has dairy in it. Some bread has eggs in it.
You're just a lackadaisical vegan.
I am a bad vegan, and that's part of my thing. So I want to invite more people to be bad vegans, because veganism is viewed as this like in or out, zero-sum sort of situation, where I'm trying to say you can eat plants 95% of the time. You don't have to worry about being in a club or not. And if you have an Oreo cookie,
Right, no big deal.
relax.
How are you handling your act with the Me Too movement? Are you cautious about going off on a riff? A lot of comics are saying that.
I think you mean people are nervous that people are offended by things.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think we did get a little bit more collectively sensitive when we saw how rampant abuse is.
Hi.
We're talking about abuse on a trail.
Hang on, abuse.
Come on, it's a light convo. How are you?
Doing well.
I'm all right.
You're 40 years old now,
You're
and all
40
of a
years old.
sudden you have a baby.
You have a baby.
No, you have a baby.
Yeah.
And
I didn't realize I was an old dad until somebody came up to me after a show and went, I wish I had the courage to be an old dad.
Is it everything that you thought it would be? Like as far as because you don't know what it's going to be when you're about to have a kid.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about it. It's the opposite of looking at your phone.
Yeah.
It's the realest thing you can do.
Yeah.
When my wife was in labor, I had that overwhelming feeling like something is actually happening. We're not looking at a car chase on a TV. We're not worried that we're late to a movie.
It's all total
Something
focus.
is real.
Yeah.
This is real, this is primal, this is ancient, and it was absolutely beautiful. But I also think comedians need to have things outside of themselves. It doesn't have to be kids, obviously, but any job that encourages introspection and narcissism can be dangerous.
Right.
You see some people that never really have something other than themselves, and that's not a good look.
All right, this is a little challenging right here.
This seems like a joke.
I mean, is this where we're going?
This is a joke.
No, here we are. Okay, it opens up over here. Pete!
Kevin, you've lost me.
How you doing? What's your heart rate now? How about your head?
My resting heart rate.
Let me see.
Sunglasses.
Do you know your heart's down here?
You know?
What job would you love to do if you weren't doing comedy or acting?
I would want to do what Round Us did and do talks about stuff like this. I love doing
Like a
it.
TED Talks thing?
Like a Rom Talks. No, I love talking to people about the mystery of existence.
Yes. Why is that so frustrating to talk about that? Because there's no answer.
Well, because it's been co-opted by narcissistic, egocentric institutions that have made it about us versus them and versus out and judgment.
You're a well-read person, aren't you?
You know what it is I remember what I read. I don't know if I'm...
Not only do I not remember what I read, I can't remember where I put the book. You know what I'm saying?
You're so funny. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
You hear, not only do I know what you're saying, I hear what you're saying.
You did a series on HBO called Crashing for 3 seasons, and it was semi-autobiographical, right?
Yes, I had a semi for 3 seasons.
But it was about your wife hooking up with another guy.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
On behalf
But
of
he was
my...
a very sweet, kind of a free spirit guy, right?
Well, that's one of the things we changed. Like, you know, you got to change some things about the story for funny reasons. That was like a Judd call. Judd Apatow was the
director,
executive producer and directed the pilot. And he was like, you should like the guy that he's with.
Okay.
And in reality, I did, and
Was he a friend?
he wasn't a friend, but he wasn't, I mean, yeah, we were friendly.
Oh, but you kind of knew him and stuff.
I don't think he's like a piece of shit or anything. I just
Still don't?
No. Okay, not to get too heady, but the whole show was about making friends with change, right? So
Ooh,
I
I
found
like
it
that.
very symbolic that my character made friends with the person who ruined his life. Because we all have these things that come our way.
Interesting that you blame the guy and not your wife.
No, I could, but I was already friends with her. You know what I'm saying?
I not only know what you're saying, but I hear what you're saying. Are you still friends with your ex-wife?
No.
Did you hear from her after that show came on? Crashing?
No.
Do you think she saw it?
Wouldn't you?
Isn't that the ultimate revenge, though?
I don't live my life that way. That's why I wanted him to be friends with the guy that ended his marriage, quote unquote. His revenge and bitterness, these things are coming to get us. They're coming to kill us. And learning to flow and learning to move with humor. That's what I love about comedy.
I want to talk more about your breakups, and you get depressed.
Yeah.
Would the girl usually break up with you?
No. My ex-wife, my first wife, is the only relationship I had where they ended it. And then after that, it took a lot of therapy and a lot of good friends to teach me that just because something ends doesn't mean it was a failure. That's something
right.
Val would say.
Yeah.
And you don't have to hate someone to break up with them. I thought you had to hate someone to break up with them. I can't say this enough. You can love someone and just be like, I don't think this is the right relationship for either of us. And staying with them when you know that it's wrong is fucked up and wrong. I give people a very good pep talk.
What if they have kids?
Well, that's a different ball of wax, isn't it? But I am a pretty good breakup coach if things
Are you
ever
really?
go sideways.
You should have been a priest, man. You're so good at this kind of talking.
Oh, there's a cave. Let's go in the cave. Oh, let's smoke weed in there.
Okay, careful, Pete. I should have told you this, but there's snakes on this trail, and poison oak, and possibly mountain lions. I didn't know there's a cave. Be careful.
Samara and Chris were in here.
This looks like Saturn, doesn't it?
It does. You know what that's called?
What?
Li. L-I.
You know everything.
No, it's the Chinese study of recurring patterns in nature. So when you see that looks like the rings of Saturn, or you see that the back of a rock looks like a tortoiseshell, or a tortoiseshell looks like a flower, that is Li, and we're back to the harmony, not the existence of a deity somewhere else.
Okay, here we go.
Outside
Here
of this.
we go.
We're talking about the study of this. This should be called hiking anxiously with Kevin.
Are you good at fixing stuff?
What do you mean, like sporting events?
No, like around the house.
No, not really. I do get obsessive about projects. I notice you have a Ring doorbell. I'll do that. I'll put the Ring doorbell in.
You good with a plunger? Have you ever used a plunger before?
My plunger game is pretty good. You know what I don't like about a plunger? Nobody seems to be talking about. After you use it, it's a shit reservoir. This isn't a bit. It's a shit reservoir, and every plunger that you see is really like it's like a breeding ground of shit bacteria that's just been sitting there from the last person that had a big buffet lunch. It just sits there in the open. So I wash my plunger.
Well, see, mine it never gets that dirty. In fact, I eat oatmeal out of mine every morning.
You are funny.
It's so dark in here. This is a little valley, and I thought the sunlight would be great, but the sun is hitting the top of the mountains because it's near the end of the day. It doesn't matter. I hiked in the dark with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, you want to hear my Jeff Goldblum? It's not because it's accurate, it's because it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Here, let's stop for a second.
All
Oh, I like this with the glasses, yes. The way that you kind of keep them for later in case you need them in this. Hold on, this hat.
Look at the light
the way
away.
the hat is. The hat blocking out the sun. Oh, my head. Oh, it got scraped.
You grew up in a beautiful area, Lexington, Massachusetts.
Yes.
And that is like the stronghold for the revolution, isn't it? The American
It
Revolution?
is. Well, that's where it all started.
That's
That's
where
where
it all
we
started.
lost. Every year we reenact it, every year we lose.
Did you? You'd think they would learn after the first reenactment.
Yeah, I know. Just do it
We need more troops
in our
coming in
favor.
from the flank.
Yeah.
What was your first concert? I like to ask people that.
The first concert, my dad took us to see Dan Fogelberg. Oh, man. You love Fogelberg?
I saw her waiting in the grocery lane.
Fogelberg.
What was your first job ever?
I worked at the Lexington Flick, which is now called the Lexington Venue.
Is it a movie theater?
It's a movie theater. They changed it from Flick because Flick in uppercase looks like fuck. Think of an L, think of an I, looks like a U.
Yeah.
So they changed it. I worked at the Lexington Fuck, and I loved it. Me and my friend Jack, we used to do bits trying to sell different candies and stuff. It was the easiest job. You work for 30
great.
minutes and then the movie's playing.
Did you let friends in for free?
I was bad at that. I didn't know.
You can open up the side door?
I didn't know to be a rascal. Someone had to teach me how to be a rascal. So a girl that I liked came in.
Yeah.
I had this huge crush on this
You gave
girl.
her free candy?
No,
Something.
She came in. I was working. I regret this to this day, although I don't regret anything. But you know, she came in. She was like, "Hey, meet some of my friends, or we're going to this birthday dinner or party or something. You want to come with me? This is my crush." And I was like, "I can't. I'm working." And then she was like, "Oh, okay." And she left. She got in the car.
Duh.
And then I went up to my manager and I was like, "Yeah, this girl that I'm like in love with just asked me if I could go to this party." And he was like, "Why didn't you go?" Like he's like, we can cover for you. It's fine. All right, Pete.
This is where I leave you.
Okay.
So,
Thanks, guys.
Good luck tonight out there. We'll come back tomorrow for you. Remember, no smoking,
Okay.
and no dogs, no bicycles, and no fires. Take care, buddy.
Bye, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
You got it.
When does it air?
Thanks, Pete. That was a fun hike. He's so smart, isn't he? He knows everything. Unfortunately, our hike wasn't long enough to solve all the mysteries of the world, but it's in his book. Read his book. There's got to be a God, though, because neither one of us got a snake bite or a poison oak rash yet. Thanks for tagging along. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and wash that snake repellent off you. Jeez, you're so ridiculous. All right, we'll catch you next time. Happy trails.